Welcome to the Riding in the Weeds podcast, where we tackle life's inevitable challenges from navigating mountain bike trails to overcoming business hurdles and forging deeper connections with pets and people. It's easy to find yourself tangled in the weeds, but we're here to help with insights and strategies that'll get you out of the weeds. Our goal is to boost your performance in both sports and everyday life by sharing essential skills that we've learnt along the way. Through tales of our entrepreneurship journey, thrilling biking adventures, and fostering meaningful relationships, your hosts, Natasha, Lockey, and Ginny, Branden, will guide you on a journey that's not only enjoyable, but also inspiring. Join us to gain confidence that you need to navigate the trails of life. Hello and welcome to episode 53 of the Riding in the Weeds podcast. You are back with Ginny and Tash, where we dive into the things that can really get us tripped up in life. Today, what we are talking about is getting into and then getting through the hard stuff. And we're not talking about the really hard stuff. We're just talking about the things that we avoid. And these are fairly common for most people. I think as humans, we generally avoid the same things depending on our types, right? Some people are different in different areas. However, there are things that we all know we want to do. We know that they're going to help us perform better. They know that future us is really going to love us if we do it, but we don't. So how do we get ourselves into a mindset where every day we do one of those things? How do we make those little steps forward so that we can start to actually make space for the things that we actually like to do and remove these like little cupboards that are in our minds? It's like the cupboard in your kitchen that you know you need to clean out. And every time you open up the Tupperware drawer, you're like, oh, I should really take some time to clean that Tupperware drawer out. And it takes up space in our brains, and it stops us from being able to fully perform the way that we want to. And it stops us from being able to step into full trust of ourselves, full love of ourselves, and really creating the life that we dream of and having everything that we could ever imagine. It also makes us feel kind of guilty. So if you know what I'm talking about, hang on tight. We're going to dive deep into this topic and maybe give you some tools and strategies about how you can get out of the weeds, because this is a surefire way to ride straight into the weeds and totally derail yourself of really being able to step into the amazingness that you are. So before I keep going, I'll just start talking and we won't get anywhere. Let's bring in the amazing Ginny Branden. She is a animal communicator. She is a business owner. She loves to ride horses. She's an amazing human being. She is my co-host, and we're going to ask her to kick us off here. Ginny, what are the things you're avoiding?
Ooh, yeah, this is an episode where we're kind of calling each other out, isn't it?
It might be.
No, yeah, I've got a laundry list, right? I think everyone does. And I think a lot of it depends on where I'm at sort of mentally. Because when I'm struggling mentally, anything I'm struggling with or around is the thing I don't want to do. So if I'm having financial challenges for that month for whatever reason, then that's the thing I'm gonna avoid doing. But like you just said, it sits on you for so long. And when you finally do it, most of the time I discover it's not that bad. I don't know about you, but pretty much every time I finally get to doing the thing that's been weighing on me forever, it wasn't that bad.
No, and I was actually having this conversation with my 8 to 12-year-old friends on the bike trail the other day. And me and Grace were talking about it. And she's like, yeah, it's like cleaning my bedroom. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And then I start cleaning my bedroom and realize that I probably shouldn't have started at 8 o'clock at night, because now all I want to do is finish it. And it's so fascinating how once you dig your teeth into that thing that you've been avoiding, now it becomes an obsession, and it's actually the only thing that you want to do. So I got to get this started. And I think part of that is that we're afraid that if we stop, we won't be able to start again. I think the other part is that it feels so good to actually do the hard things. Everything that you want out of life is on the other side of the thing that you were avoiding.
Yeah.
Yet we do it. And the reason for this topic this week is full disclosure, because it's getting smaller, but I had this pile of papers that were related to the closing down of my store. And I think part of my issue was that if I close this chapter, then the chapter is closed. And I know it'll feel really good, but I'm also kind of hanging on to it a little bit, right? And it's a little bit scary for several different reasons. And yet, getting it done, I know it's going to feel so good. I'm going to stop feeling bad about myself. And I also think there's that thing where you've got to create space for it, because honestly, I have a lot of really important things to do and a lot of other things that I'm avoiding. And I started in on the pile of papers, and now I'm like, but this is all I want to do. So using the strategies from our focusing episode have actually been really good for me, because it's like, okay, we need to do 3 wins today. And this paperwork job is not a 1 hour thing. So in this 1 hour, what piece of this project can I get done? Because I'm not going to be able to do the whole piece. And then leaving it in such a way that I feel like I have completed it at the end. And I also feel inspired and motivated to move on to the next piece.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the strategies that you can use when it comes to this kind of stuff, because sometimes these tasks are big tasks, and that's part of the resistance, right? We don't want to deal with the amount of energy and effort that it's going to take to complete it. So how can you break it down into baby steps? And I know I experienced this with really all of my animals, honestly, over the years, because sometimes when you get into training situations and your pet won't do something, it's really easy to just avoid doing that thing, so you don't have the problem, right? My easiest example is my dogs were horrible to walk. I had a 70-pound lab mix and I had a 35-pound shepherd spaniel mix. And together, like, do you want your arms stretched? Because they were going to pull on you the entire time you were going anywhere. And they would get anxious and they would just be really, really erratic. Well, when they were about 9 or 10 years old, we ended up moving to a farm and there was no fenced yard attached to the house. And so suddenly we had to use leashes to get them to a place where they could be off leash in an enclosed space. So guess what we had to learn to do? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. And the thing was, if I had just confronted it when they were little and done the work when they were little, I never would have gotten there. But because it was hard, and back then the internet, like it exists now, I know I'm totally dating myself, and it meant that it was challenging and I didn't have a lot of resources to know how to fix the problem. And so we just avoided it. We had backyards. It was easy to just let them out. Don't worry about it. And yeah, they were rambunctious and had more energy than I would have liked, but we dealt with it. And it would have been so much better if I had just put in the small amounts of time years before, and I could have gotten so much more enjoyment out of my relationship with them and out of my time with them, because we could have gone on walks. We could have gone places together, which is what happened after, I don't know, maybe a month or two, barely at the farm, of taking them out on leashes every time we had to go out. We could go on walks all over the farm, and it was lovely. And so I lost years and years of time with them because I didn't do the hard thing up front, when it would have been a lot easier to manage and a lot smaller of a problem. This happens everywhere in our lives. We get into this thing where our brain tells us it's going to be bad, or tells us how hard it is, instead of just doing it, and then it does turn into a bigger deal later.
Yeah, and then it becomes this big monster that's sitting on your shoulder. It's like that closet in your room. You just keep stuffing things into it and doesn't serve us. It's really interesting because there's so many things you said in there. And one of the things that popped into my brain was my goal right now in my mountain bike coaching is really trying to break things into digestible pieces. So if I'm going to give more than one lesson, then it's going to be stacked, right? So we're climbing up a hill. So I'm going to teach you how to pedal efficiently. And then I'm going to teach you about pedal stroke. And then I'm going to teach you about looking further ahead. And then we're going to get to the top of the hill and now we have to go back down again. So I'm going to incorporate some of those things and I'm going to start to talk about the things that we're doing on the way down. And if I can chunk that into little bite-sized pieces, then it makes the whole coaching experience, both for myself and for my participants, more importantly, it's very easy for them to digest. And I'm not bouncing all over the place. It was really interesting because the other night when I went into my coaching class and I was tired and I'd just ridden with a bunch of children and I was going into a completely different coaching scenario. And I found myself bouncing all over the place. And I actually overwhelmed my students a little bit. I stretched them a little bit. I mean, the trail stretched them, but I wasn't feeling equipped to really manage the situation in the way that I would have liked to. And I reflected on it afterwards and I was like, why did that happen? I was like, because I didn't chunk down in quite the same way because I had these little bits firing all over the place. I think all of this to say that if we can write down the random thoughts and distractions that come into our head, kind of coming back to that whole focus thing. I was in a focus mate session today and she was like, yeah, I kept on telling myself, we're going to think about this later. We're going to manage this later. I'm going to do this later and coming back. And if I had used that strategy in my coaching, and it's the strategy I was using the other day when I was doing my paperwork. Like, okay, I got a piece of paper, write that down. We're going to do that when we're done. We're going to do that next. We're going to deal with that later. And I think if we can start to create some sort of system to actually be like, I'm going to do that later, and then do it. Can't get to sleep at night. There's thoughts running around in your head. Write them down. And then in the morning, look at them and actually take those actions. Otherwise, the Tupperware drawer just keeps on being something that sits and it destroys your self-confidence. It destroys your trust in yourself. It destroys everything that you're moving forward with. You're stopped because you're avoiding doing that piece of training with your dog, which means that you are unable to have the experiences that you would have gotten to have otherwise.
Yeah.
Kind of a disjointed thought pattern, but I hope I brought it back together there.
Yeah. Well, and I love what you're talking about. That's actually a strategy that my business coach, George Cow, uses in working with his time. I know you guys have heard me talking about him before and how very, very clear he is with his focus. He actually has a system where when those types of thoughts arise, oh, I need to go do X, he goes into a note app and he puts it on a list that's specifically categorized based on whatever it is. Is it an administrative task? Is it a fun research project? What is it? And he puts it in that list. And then he blocks his schedule so that he has time. Okay, now is the hour where I'm going to go do research on certain things for my business, on new technology or something like that. If someone says, oh, hey, I heard about this great thing that's a really useful tool, he says, cool, I'll go look it up later. And when you have a system to manage all of those little extra thoughts that are coming in all the time, then it means that you can focus on that task that's at hand and you don't get pulled away because you're not going to forget at that point. It's down, it's there for later, and you can go get back to it when you want to. And those types of strategies can help you get through that hard thing so that you can buckle down and do it and you don't have to worry about all those little miscellaneous thoughts. They're out of the way. They're taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of things that are very common by the type of people that we are. There are common things that we avoid. And there are people that actually love finances and will not avoid them. Most of us probably get a little intimidated by what it means if I sit and I do my budget, I'm going to realize I have no money. If I
I have no problem
if
doing
I
my
actually
finances when I'm good on my budget. So when the budget's good,
right,
it's
because then you're
easy.
celebrating it, and that's
Yeah.
such a good point. It's the same with doing a workout, right? When you know that the workout's going to feel good because you've been doing it for the past 6 months, you got no problem getting up and doing the workout. What you have a problem with is when you know that it's going to suck and you don't want to do it. I've been wanting to do yoga forever, and I was just at a yoga retreat, and we did 3 1 hour sessions. There was 2 on the first day and 1 on the second day, and it was hard. Like my friend said yesterday, the thing I don't like about yoga is the quiet time. Like it's so quiet. And it's quiet. I was like, yeah, it's quiet. And I hurt. So while it's quiet, all I'm thinking about is how painful this experience is. But after doing 3 yoga classes that were each an hour long, I came home and I've now done 15 minutes of yoga backed up against my 15 minutes of workout, which has increased from a 7-minute workout. And yeah, it still sucks, but I'm doing it. And each time I do it, it sucks a little less. And what we've got in here is our future me. So now I know how good future me feels in the morning because I'm getting up, I'm doing a workout, I'm then doing my yoga. I then do a 5 to 10 minute meditation. I've actually found that 5-minute meditation isn't long enough. I want 10 minutes. That's exciting. And then I do 15 minutes of Duolingo. And at the end of it, I feel great. I think I feel so great that this morning my body woke me up at 5:42 and was like, we should get up because we've got to do the podcast and we're not going to have time to do our hour and something worth of morning stuff that make us feel really good on the other side. And I've now connected to what future me is going to feel like in an hour's time. And I'm like, I don't want to miss this.
I love that. And you're talking about multiple strategies in there, but when you know you're going to feel good later, or that future you is going to appreciate what you did now, I think that is one of the easiest ways to motivate myself to get up and do it. And I use that a lot when it comes to cleaning up something or neatening something or putting something away now versus just leaving it out. Future me would appreciate that I don't have to do that or that it's already where it needs to be rather than waiting and dealing with it later. And so I hold on to that when I'm dealing with cleaning type tasks and straightening up or the mundane. Do I really want to clean the kitchen up completely tonight or not? And the reality is I would rather not clean it twice as much tomorrow. So future me will appreciate not having a mess when I come in the morning or make my lunch for tomorrow if I have to go somewhere or something like that. Future me will appreciate that I don't have to do it in the morning and add that to my routine list because I've already got a list and I have my own morning routine. And the other piece of that puzzle is stacking things that you already do. So when you can add, like, okay, so you've already started working out and then you can add in the yoga piece, even if you start small, 5 or 10 minutes or something, and build up, then it makes it a lot easier to get it done when you're already pairing it with something that you either A, do very consistently, or B, really enjoy. That makes it easier to add in that piece of the puzzle. And then it just becomes part of like how you do things and you don't have to think about it. When you turn it into a routine like that, it takes the thought process out of it. And
Yeah.
then you no longer have to think about doing it. That's why Steve Jobs wore a uniform. He had a self-imposed uniform because he never had to think about what he was going to wear that day. And there is definitely some value in that.
Yeah. And I love where you're going with this because what comes up for me is also noticing where you have resistance to things, right? So Steve Jobs had resistance to thinking about what he was going to wear in the morning. So therefore, he removed that piece of resistance. With my workouts, I signed up to a workout program. It's online. And in order for me to do that workout, I've got to open my computer. I have to log into her program. I have to pick a program to do. And then I have to actually watch the video because she does exercises that I might not know. Or I've actually got a timer that are a bunch of workouts that I've created myself. I know all of the exercises. It's as easy as clicking the app, it opens up, I pick an amount of time I want to work out for, and it goes. I don't have to watch, I don't have to sign in, I don't have to do all of those things. So, yeah, once I get into a routine and I can trust myself that I'm going to do my workout every day and that's now a thing I do, that's the point at which I'm going to add back in. I'm going to go and use her training program. But right now, those 5 steps that I'd have to do at 7 o'clock in the morning are going to stop me. They're going to be enough to not have me get out of bed to do the workout. So let's reduce the barrier. I don't know whether hers is more effective than mine. I don't think it is, but it could be. It's a different way of doing things. However, right now, I'm not going to do it if I add that in. This morning, I wanted to do a different 15-minute yoga, but the one that I've been doing for the past few days was right there. So I was like, do you want to spend the next 10 minutes trying to find another one? No, let's just do this one. Maybe tonight, before I go to bed, would be the time for me to find the new one for tomorrow morning. Now I've taken away that piece of resistance. The other thing that I have noticed, I've been really noticing the thoughts going through my head lately. And Duolingo, I'm on a streak. And I'm actually on a streak without using the streak freezes. So this matters to me. I will go in and I will do 1 minute of Spanish just to keep my streak without using the freeze. So this strategy is clearly working really, really well for me right now. Ginny keeps talking about this meditation app that doesn't give you streak freezes, just adding that point in there, that she's been using. And I was like, okay, hold on a minute. I want to start meditating. Ginny, what's that app? It's called Insight Timer, just for the record. And I have a friend, she's using an app, it's working for her. I want to add meditation in. I know that having a streak clearly works for me, makes me do things I might not otherwise do or I might avoid. So I download the Insight Timer and I'm like 4 days in, and then I'm at the yoga retreat and I've just done an hour of yoga, and then I did another hour of yoga, and then I did a yoga nidra sound healing.
Nice.
Beautiful. 2.5 hours of yoga meditation stuff. But, and you'll find this hilarious because we actually had a conversation about this over the weekend and Ginny had no idea the experience I was going through, but it wasn't in the app. So I was going to lose my streak. So it's 10 o'clock at night and I've already done 2.5 hours of meditation stuff. And I go in and I find a 4-minute meditation just so I can keep my streak. And in the same time, Jenny's messaging me about how she lost her streak in a way that she actually hacked it. So it was really ironic to me because all I could think of is, well, I've done the work, but it's not in my app. So I've got to go in and I've got to do it. And it gave me that motivation to actually go and do another 4 minutes of meditation. And then on top of that, I used the streaks that are in because I was trying to find a habit tracker. And I was like, well, what if I use the meditation streak and stack that with my workout? So now I'm at day 9, which means I've done 9 days of a workout and a meditation. So I'm using my streak addiction to fuel my workout and my meditation. And I am making it so that it doesn't count if I don't do some sort of workout. The yoga did count for that though. So
absolutely,
I didn't do the workout, but I did the meditation in the app, but I had done yoga. So all of these little things have actually enabled me get going. And then the last thing I'll say is that Focus Mate really works for me to get dialed in and do the hard things. When I was like, okay, I'm committed. I'm going to get through this pile of paperwork. I'm going to make the actions that I have to do before the end of the month. How am I going to do that? I'm going to go into my Focus Mate. I'm going to make an appointment, and that's what I'm going to focus on for that hour. So all that to say, I'm noticing what's working for me, and I'm using that to get the things done that I'm literally resisting like a 5-year-old toddler. A 5-year-old toddlers? I'm not sure. Like a 5-year-old.
Yeah. I have to laugh that we were going through the same situation. Like, clearly we meditated, but it didn't count because it was not in the app. And I had the same situation. We went to the beach over the past weekend, and I actually was sitting on the beach just in a chair under the umbrella with my eyes closed, just being present at the beach. And I was loving it. I think we were out there for like an hour or so. And that was all I did. I had a book with me, but I'm like, nah, I'm enjoying just being here and being in this environment. But it didn't count because the app wasn't tracking it. So I hacked it, I'll admit. But I had legitimately actually done something. It just wasn't timed. So yeah, sometimes you just have to turn the timer on just so it counts. And that way you did it. I love all these things. And I think it's important to say about streaks is that you have to be careful with them, because if it gets to the point where, like, I do get angry when I miss a day, I get really mad at myself and really frustrated. And I was up to like, I don't know, 300. It was over a year. It was definitely over a full year of days, and I missed a day, and I was so mad. And so you have to be able to figure out how to balance being able to do something and also being okay if something happens once in a while. It's not the end of the world if you do miss it. And sometimes switching things up actually helps our bodies and it helps our brains. So there's kind of a caveat for that, but it's really useful to be able to stack things like that. And for me, the days I have missed my meditation have usually been days when I'm so busy that I'm very preoccupied with the to-do list for the day. So all the things I know that I need to get done when I have a really, really full schedule for the day, those are sometimes the days I miss because I get out of my usual pattern of managing my morning. And it's getting to the point now where I used to be able to get out of the house by like 6:30 or 7. And now I don't want to be out of the house before 8:30 because I have my system and I have my routine, and it helps me get some of those things done that I might otherwise resist just because it's not part of my routine. So the value of routines when you're talking about a hard thing that is something that you want to do consistently, pick out that different yoga to watch the night before. Can you even log into the workout website the night before and have your computer there, your clothes there, everything ready to roll so that you don't have to think about it in the morning and you get to just get up and do it? Future you will thank past you for picking out something for her to do. Those little tricks are huge when it comes to being able to check off a box on something that is hard.
I love so much of what you said. First, I want to just address the shadow side. Once something becomes an addiction, I was mad the other day when I used a streak freeze in Duolingo. I was so upset with myself. Like, how did you forget? Like, seriously, Tash, you can do one exercise in 53 seconds. There was no excuse. I just was busy and I forgot to do my Duolingo, which is why I've moved it to the beginning of my day as opposed to the last thing I do at night. Because now when I have that moment of, did I do my Duolingo? I'm like, no, I did, because it was at the beginning of the day and it was Saturday morning of the yoga retreat. And that's why I wasn't in my routine of doing it in the beginning of the day. The shadow side, right? Of it actually taking you out of the present moment because you have to do that thing. It's actually okay if you drop your streak. That's what I do love about Duolingo, that you've got the streak freeze, because that gives you the ability, like, I'm not in Wi-Fi, I can't do it today. And there's no stress involved. So when the thing that's supposed to be helping you actually creates stress, then you need to reevaluate. and then that next step of the other thing I was thinking about was there's this diet that I want to try. It's a 3-day smoothie and a bowl thing. And I was reading the recipes, and I don't like recipes because my ADHD brain is like, that's too many things to think about. And what you were just saying is really, really good for that, because okay, so there's a lot of ingredients and a lot of instructions as to make a salad bowl. Like, can I not just have the same salad bowl that I have every day? I don't know her reasoning. I don't know the macros and the calories and all of the things. And if I want to follow the 3-day diet, maybe I should, like, it's 3 days, I can do this. So exactly as you said, what are the steps that I can take in advance So I open it up. I write in, what are they? Grocery lists. Go to the grocery store, get the things. One of them serves 8 people. Well, it's only a 3-day diet and I'm just by myself right now. So really, I could make the thing and actually eat it for 8 days quite easily. So how can I, knowing who I am, knowing where resistance comes up for me, how can I move through the resistance? Getting started, doing something is like the first step. If you're not eating well, starting to eat well is the first step. Then go and find a diet that you can follow. If you're someone who loves following recipes, that's not going to be an issue for you. I resist. Don't tell me what to do.
Either.
I made a curry the other night. I didn't even buy green curry paste. I was like, I just want something that's with a coconut milk. Made the whole thing up. There's 100 different recipes I could have followed that may or may not have made it really good. It was really good anyway. But I'm like, there's 5 ingredients, 5 steps, far as Tash goes over here. Give me more than that. I'm going to resist it. So then I know that about myself. How can I move through that resistance?
Yeah. The me that's at the grocery store is never the same as the me in my kitchen. And I am so bad about that. There's a container of strawberries in my refrigerator that I still haven't diced up. But they looked fantastic in the store, and so I bought them, and now I really need to eat them. So I'm going to have a giant bowl of strawberries when I get around to it. There'll probably be some rotten ones in there by then, but hopefully not too many.
See, it's actually the opposite. You thought that you were thinking of future you, and you're like, future me is going to be so excited to eat these strawberries. And then future you's like, oh, I got to wash them and I got to dice them. And
right.
And past me spent $6 on those strawberries. So I've really got to use them for something good. And I don't know if I've gotten to the point where I can use them for something good. So it's quite interesting that even like when we think of future us in a positive sense, sometimes we don't know our future selves well enough often to make these decisions for her. Yeah. And we're so like, I'm going to do that because it's going to be so good for future me. She's going to be so excited that all I bought at the grocery store was vegetables. And then future you was like, I want a pizza.
Future you is fixed. There's no cookies.
And you were thinking of her. You were like, I'm going to be really good to future me. I'm not going to buy cookies. And then you're standing there and there's no cookies. And so all that to say that we actually don't know future us very well. So sometimes we're like, I don't know you. I don't care. You know, last time I thought of you, you totally screwed it up.
Yeah, the grocery store is where future me and present me definitely do not agree very well at all. And I have great aspirations for future me, and then she fails. She's a total flop.
Mine is like at night when I suddenly realize that I haven't done all those things. So I'm like, well, I'll do them all for future me. And then future me's like, well, I really would have preferred to do the dishes in the morning because I really wanted to go to bed early last night because I was really tired. It's fascinating how messy our brain is. And so just like understanding that and then working through it and not judging it and not being guilty about it, but just taking one little action step at a time that will help you actually do the thing. So like maybe the action step was now you gets home from the grocery store with the strawberries, washes them and dices them up so future you could have had them for breakfast the next morning. Like, maybe, so it's like starting to recognize, okay, well, what was the resistance that future you had to the strawberries? There's so many ways to dissect this whole puzzle, but really the important thing is to notice what you're resisting and notice what works for you. What works and what doesn't work. And then keep adjusting.
Yep.
And keep moving forward. Don't get stopped by it. And knowing that I get mad when I lose a streak is something I'm taking as a positive instead of just being like, I'm not doing anything with streaks because it upsets me.
Yeah.
How can I use this upset to my advantage as opposed to just quitting? And again, that Duolingo, I just quit last time. I just got so mad at myself that I just stopped it altogether. Well, future me was then back in Mexico, totally unimpressed with past me.
Yeah. With the grocery situation, sometimes I think that part of when we end up resisting things is because we don't plan appropriately anyway. I could probably fairly easily plan that when I go to the store, there is time when I get home that any of that prep happens. I tend to buy meat in large packages when I go to the store because of cost. Vegetables that need to be chopped or diced, fruits the same way. Could I plan time so that when I come home, all that stuff happens and it's done? That would be the really smart thing. And then future me would actually not mind having strawberries because there'd be no prep work left to do with them. A lot of those little things, like how can we make it easier on ourselves? And sometimes when that resistance comes up, it's just because we didn't plan. And we need to actually stop and go, realistically, what do I need to be able to accomplish this? Like your paperwork situation. If you don't allow the appropriate amount of time with all of the paperwork tasks, then you're going to end up not feeling good about it because you won't actually be able to accomplish it because you just didn't give yourself enough time. Time blindness is a real thing, but I think a lot of us don't correctly estimate the amount of time it takes to do something. And we're talking even mundane, normal tasks, like going to the grocery store or the amount of time it takes to prep dinner, even if you're not really following a recipe, or the amount of time it takes to do a business task, even an administrative task. When we don't have a realistic grasp on the length of time, it can end up being very easy to resist doing something because we know that we can't appropriately accomplish it in the amount of time that we've given ourselves, which is not fair to ourselves at that point.
There are so many things you just said in there, and I just wanted to comment on this last part of the podcast. If you're still here, this is why it takes Ginny and I an hour before we actually start recording, because these are the sorts of conversations we actually have. Like, what are we talking about today? Like, I want to talk about this and this and this. None of you really need to stick around for that. So yes to everything that you just said, and especially the time suck. The other day I got home from the yoga retreat and I'd eaten all the food that I'd gotten for the week. I'd actually managed to get through everything, but I forgot that the grocery store shuts at 6 o'clock on Sunday night. And so it's 5:15 as we get home. I've got a van with a trailer on it. So going to the grocery store right now is a little complicated because, like, where do you park a van with a trailer at the grocery store? I live in a small town, so it's a little easier than it would be somewhere else. But I did not plan for Sunday night dinner at all. And there is no food at all. And it's that lack of seeing a little bit ahead, just looking a fraction ahead into what needs to be done, how much time is it going to be taking, and how can I create some sort of a routine around it. And sometimes that means you have to get up earlier, and maybe sometimes it means you have to go to bed just a little bit later. But as long as we stay within our realms, I imagine at 6 o'clock tonight when I'm trying to coach people, I'm going to regret I wasn't going back to sleep at 5:50, so I got up. I think we're done. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been so fun. I really hope that you've enjoyed listening to this. The topic was getting through the hard stuff. I am Natasha Lockey, and I am a life performance mountain bike coach. What I absolutely love doing is helping people perform at their absolute best so that they can really step into the life that they want, create the dreams that they want to have happen, get rid of all of the guilt and the lack of trust, and just keep moving forward so that we can have more fun, whether you're on your mountain bike, whether you're in your life. And where I really shine is bringing that physical component into life. What do you do really well physically? What are the experiences you have when you're on your bike, when you're doing a workout? And how can you actually bring those lessons that you learn into your everyday life? Because that is how, like, we learn better when we're at play, we learn faster, and we get to where we're going. So we can take those lessons from one area of our life and we can bring them into another area of life. You can find me at Betty Go Hard on Instagram. on Facebook. I'm actually more active there these days, Natasha Lockey, and LinkedIn, Natasha Lockey. How about you, Ginny?
Yeah, I'm Ginny Branden. I'm an animal communicator and energy healer for animals and their people too. And you can find my website at soulpetconnections.com and also on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube under the same handle. If you are struggling with your relationship with your pets or have questions or concerns about what they think about their life with you, I would be happy to help you. So hit me up a message on any of the platforms, and I would love to get to know you and your pet. So thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. You can find our podcast at ridingintheweeds.com and also on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube under the same handle, as well as all the major podcast platforms. So we appreciate you being here and would love to have your likes, comments, and shares. If you're on Apple, please hit us up and leave us a review. That really helps our numbers and our awareness. So we would love to hear from you. Drop us a comment and let us know if you have any ideas for upcoming topics. We'd love to hash it out. So sending you all lots of love, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
And just to comment on that, it's really hard to figure out how to leave a review sometimes on these platforms. Apple, I found that if you just keep scrolling to the bottom, there is a spot where you can leave the review. I presume it's the same with Spotify, but they don't actually make it easy for you to find them. However, if you just keep scrolling, you will get to the spot where it asks you to leave a review. So love it if you take the time, and so would any other podcast that you listen to. So it is worth taking a moment to appreciate the people that bring you the information that you like to listen to, because it does light our hearts up. And yeah, we love you dearly. So thank you so much. Have a great day.